I really didn't want to start off my YouTube career by getting into a disagreement with another OG YouTuber in the security field, but here we are. So we got to deal with it. Yesterday, I posted a comment on the Security Guard Network's channel criticizing how he answered a question. And the question is, how do I get someone to leave when they refuse? Awesome. I enjoy the opportunity to overcome obstacles. I enjoy leadership challenges, and I always enjoy an opportunity to demonstrate my prowess as a security officer in the field that we operate in. So how do we get someone to leave property when they just absolutely flat out plain Jane refuse? Okay, this is how we're going to do it. First and foremost, we're going to garner compliance through respect. That is the absolute thing that we're going to do. We're going to be as kind, we're going to be as courteous, we're going to be as friendly, and we're going to be as nice as we absolutely possibly can be. When people encounter me as a security officer, I want to be the nicest, friendliest person that they talk to the entire day. Really think about that for a second. I want to be the nicest, friendliest, most courteous, and respectful person that this person, the person I've initiated contact with, has talked to all day. I want to be friendlier than their spouse, than their kids at home, than their mean boss, anybody else that they may have interactions with. That is how we're going to open up every single conversation that we have with every person that we meet on the street, period. Friendly, courteous, respectful, and through that, we're going to garner compliance. If the person will not leave, then the first thing that we need to do is we need to conduct an assessment to make sure that they can leave. Generally speaking, there's 4 ways that someone's going to leave property. One is through voluntary compliance. The other one is through police intervention, which we don't want. Second to last one is EMS intervention. Someone's sick, someone's hurting, someone needs help right now, and they're relying on you to get that for them. And lastly is involuntary or forceful compliance, right? Which is something that we don't want to do. We want to do everything that we can to garner voluntary compliance from the get-go. Consider their perspective. They're on property, they're loitering, breaking a rule, doing something, maybe breaking a law, smoking, whatever the case is. And some guy who they don't know is going to walk up to them with $1,700 worth of equipment looking like they're about to invade Fallujah. I'm not going to ask anyone to skimp or to sacrifice on the personal protective equipment, nor am I going to skimp or reduce my personal protective equipment. But what I am going to do is I'm going to ask that when you make contact, when you initiate contact with somebody, 1, you hit your body cam, keeps you safe, keeps them safe, and I want you to be as friendly and as kind and as courteous as you absolutely can be. This is going to garner respect from not only the person that she's initiated contact with, but this is also going to garner respect from people who are onlooking, from other people who might be involved with your contact that you may not know about or haven't entered yet, like police, detective, a sergeant, store manager who might be watching on the CCTV, other people who might be with their cell phones. Taking videos of you, watching everything that you're doing. And no matter how you slice it, no matter how you cut it, no matter what you do, there's absolutely no way that you can make someone with $1,700 worth of equipment with a gun look like they're not being mean to somebody who is less fortunate. There's just no way. The only way that we can improve the exterior appearance of what we're trying to do, which is gain voluntary compliance, is by being as courteous and respectful as humanly possible. So what do you mean by being courteous? The first thing that we're going to do after we initiate our body camera is we are going to introduce ourselves. Absolutely right. We're going to walk up to them and we're going to say, "Hey, how are you? My name is Security Officer Knucklefuts. I'm with company XYZ. How are you today?" We're going to give them a second to respond. Okay. If they respond with, "Hey, how's your day?" then you respond, "Hey, my day's great. Thank you so much for asking." If they respond with "fuck you," you need to say, "I'm sorry that you feel that way." Now, what we're doing here is we're now building rapport. So now we've disarmed them. We've built rapport, and now that we have built rapport, now we can ask for something. An example of this is I was monitoring the security camera. I wanted to come down here and check to see if there's anything that I could do for you, or maybe I could help you with something. That is a really soft ask. What are we asking for? We're asking to find out why they're there. We're asking for something. We're asking for information. That's what we're asking for. Now they might turn around and say, "Hey, my car broke down. I don't know where I'm at. I'm lost, whatever. This now gives you an opportunity to give them a way out. Okay, awesome. Hey, there is a tow shop down the street over here. I'd be more than happy to give them a call for you if you'd like." "Oh, great. Gosh, my car broke down. My phone's dead. I was just looking for someone to make a call." "Oh, great. Here's a post phone. Let me help you make that call." Now we've diffused the entire situation, and now they've gotten something from us, right? We asked for information from them. There's a give and a take. Now we're giving them a way out. The way out is we're helping them. Because you've been the most courteous, most respectful, most kindest person they've met all day long, they're going to be like, hey, you know what? That was a really nice guy. It might start to change their perspective on security and law enforcement as a whole. That is something that you can do within your community right here, right now. This gives you an opportunity to point them in the right direction, do something for them, and or consequently, get them off property. Good job. You win. Let's consider the next level on the use of force continuum. Let's say you've been kind, you've been courteous, you've been respectful, and they say fuck you. And your response is, I'm sorry you feel that way. This should be your response to everything they say. Everything they say. Fuck you. I'm sorry you feel that way. You're a bitch ass rent-a-cop. I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm gonna come back here and beat your ass up. I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm gonna come back here and fuck your mother and spit in your eye. I am sorry that you feel that way. Some people might call this verbal judo. This is just a practical example of what I've experienced as a security officer in this last 10 years or so that I've been doing it. That is the best way to deal with anything. I'm sorry you feel that way. Now, this undoes two things for you. One, it shows that you're psychologically tougher than they are. You've already won the battle. The moment you break down your constitution and you start saying fuck you back, now they've manipulated you. Now you're playing into their game. Don't lose frame. Maintain frame. This is your show. They just happen to walk on the wrong set. That's it. I'm sorry you feel that way, but you gotta go. Let them say whatever they want. Let them say whatever they're going to say as long as they're saying it on the way out the door. That's fine. Did you have to eat a little bit? Maybe. Do you really care? Probably not. As long as the check clears, I don't think you care. I don't. Mercenary mindset. In the interactions that you might have with other people, you might have to choose a command. My two favorite go-to commands are keep walking, keep walking, keep walking, and please leave. Please leave. Please leave. Both of those are super kind, super respectful, super courteous, kind of, not really. I guess, please leave. Keep walking is kind of maybe not as respectful as, but you understand what I'm saying. The other part too is, have you ever considered how unbelievably annoying it is for somebody to just stand next to you and say rhythmically, please leave, please leave, please leave? That would make anybody want to go. It'd make me want to go. Right? You haven't really done anything on your use of force continuum, right? You're still at the whole using verbal commands part. You haven't escalated. You're just saying, please leave. Eventually, they're going to leave. Or just standing there. I know that sounds dumb, but if you want someone to leave and you're just standing there right next to them, please leave. And then just sit back for a second. That makes some people so uncomfortable they leave immediately. That doesn't work with everybody, but that does work. Let's say that you give in your commands and they still absolutely refuse to leave. There's nothing that you can do. There is absolutely nothing that you can do. You've done everything. You've been nice. You've been sweet. You've been courteous. You've done everything you can. Put your gloves on. This is as much a safety tactic as it is a psychological tactic, okay? Number one, I don't want you to touch anybody skin to skin. I don't know why, what it is, but psychologically it's just not there, right? You're putting on the gloves. I don't think you should be dramatic about it. They're already aware that some security officer is talking to them. You're signaling to them psychologically that you're ready or you're preparing to go to the next step in your use of force continuum. Everyone already knows what that is. They know it, they just don't know they know it, but they feel it. The next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna make your assessment. You wanna constantly assess and reassess. Some people, honestly, may not be able to leave because they are hurt, or because they're dehydrated, or because they're ODing, or because they're drunk, or whatever the case is, okay? So you need to make those assessments. You also need to make sure that you assess whether or not they have any weapons. Do they have any needles? Is there anything in their pocket that's gonna stick you, stab you, poke you? A gun in their waist belt? These are all different things that you're gonna need to kind of assess before you go and you make contact with this individual. You also wanna make sure that they don't give you that old family secret recipe hidden in the background, 100 knockout punch, Hadouken, knock your shit out, right? You want to make all those assessments. There's a whole video that we can do about nonverbal cues before someone starts acting aggressive, but that's going to be for a different time at a later date. Right now, we're just dealing with trying to get somebody to leave that won't leave. Put your gloves on, make your assessment. Now, what I want you to do with your glove on is I want you to gently, with full arm extended, I want you to gently put your hand on their shoulder and point to the exit, right? That's all I want you to do, fully extended, right? The reason why I want you to be fully extended is because if they do decide to give you that old mollywop, you're fully extended, right? You're out of range. You can step up, you can step back. You do whatever you gotta do to evade that attack if they choose to do that. If they shrug back, if they go, oh, don't touch me, then you tell them, okay, then leave. Very, very, very easy to do, right? Shoulder, there's the door, right? Psychologically you've invaded their space and they know, okay, it's no longer a game anymore. That should be as far as you generally would ever have to take it. If they still refuse to leave from there, then I want you to execute a escort hold. What is an escort hold? It's when you stick with open hand on the bicep, the other hand on the wrist, and just walk them to the door. That's called escort hold. It is very easy to do. It's not going to hurt anybody, and it puts you in a position to where if they decide while you have them that they're going to reach over and punch you, right, that you can easily manipulate that wrist and that elbow and use a forceful compliance if you have to. If you have to. I'm not saying that you should. I'm not telling you that you need to do this every time. I'm not saying that this is the end all be all. What I am saying is that you have an opportunity to gain forceful compliance if they don't want to give you voluntary compliance, which would be your escort hold. You're walking to the door. The other thing that I see a lot all the time, guys will be drunk and they'll go to sleep, or they'll roll over and go to sleep. Okay, that's very dangerous, but you need to be careful. What I'll do in that situation is I'll come from behind with my gloves. I'll put my arms underneath their armpits. I will raise them up off the ground and then move into an escort hold, or extend my arm and just guide them out the door. Can't believe you're making me have to do this, man. All right, come on, let's go. Get up. Get up. Here's your shit. Walk that way. Walk that way. Keep walking. Keep walking. Keep walking. Generally speaking, that should be all that you need to do to get someone to leave. You shouldn't have to do much more than that. If somebody is inebriated or someone's drunk, you might have to shove them out the door. But it's very, very easy to go from an escort hold to behind them and push them out the door. Once they're out the door, lock the door. Lock the door behind them. Now there's a couple of things that you should do because you've put hands on somebody, right? You've technically put hands on somebody. That initiates a SIR report, which is your security incident report. So you're gonna wanna tell your company what you did. You're gonna wanna make sure that you keep your body cam footage. So that way when they go and say that you twisted their arm and you broke their finger and you jabbed them in the eye, you have your proof that you did not, and that you only used the minimum amount of force necessary to get them to leave the property. That's it. That's it. You're only using the minimum, the absolute bare minimum amount of force necessary to get them to leave the property. If they shrug back, but they keep walking, then let them finish out the walk, okay? Just walk behind them and let them go outside the property line. It's very, very important. All the time, I see security guards that get into a fight, they get into a fisticuffs, they get into a knockdown drag out, and one of them gets knocked out or one of them gets disabled. Generally, it's the other person. They get knocked out, they get disabled, and then they didn't remove them from property. Now you got this guy that's knocked out on property. You didn't escort them off the property. They're still on property. The problem's still there. So if you decide to move on to the next step in the use of force continuum, you want to make sure that you've initiated SIR and you want to make sure that you've escorted them all the way off the property. If that's the front door, then it's all the way out the front door. Close the door behind them, lock it. Lock it until they get far enough away it's reasonable to unlock it, okay? Or you feel like it's safe to unlock it. If it's just like a field or something, or a parking lot, escort them all the way off the parking lot. And once they leave the property line, turn right back around and go back and do your rounds. Pretty easy peasy. If someone doesn't want to leave after you've initiated all these steps, after you've been kind, courteous, and respectful, after you've garnered rapport and you've garnered trust with them, after you've made an ask and you've given something in return, they don't want to leave after that, then there's a problem in the first step of your use of force continuum, okay? Because that's what we're talking about right now. The first step in your use of force continuum is your command presence. If somebody doesn't want to leave after you've done everything that you possibly could, it's because there's something wrong with you. If you're dumpy, morbidly obese, unkept, unclean, unshaved, dirty, wrinkled uniform, shirt's untucked, and your breath smells like the first meal that you had came out of a baby's diaper, and you're sitting on post looking like Craig and Day Day, you're not going to be able to garner enough respect from anybody to gain any kind of voluntary compliance. And this is why command presence is so important. It filters out those people who would try a dumpy officer but wouldn't try a real officer. That's why command presence is so important. It keeps you safe, it keeps them safe, and it keeps you from having to escalate in that use of force continuum. These are some things I encourage you not to do. Number one is we're not gonna rely on 911. In the original post, Tyler Gonzalez mentioned, what if you have a person that refuses to leave and police will not respond? Here's the deal. Police are not gonna respond to you because they expect you to be an armed, prepared, disciplined, educated, and trained individual. They expect you to be able to get someone to leave on your own. If a security officer has to call 911 and a police officer has to do your job for you, then they don't fucking need you. If I have to do my job for you, then I don't need you. Portland is already an overburdened 911 system with an understaffed and overworked police agency. The last thing that we want to do as security officers is get one of them to help us do our job. Don't need it. The next thing we're not going to do is we're not going to leave anything for the next officer. On a long enough timeline, some backup will be there for you. Your incoming officer will come in for you. And then now there's two of you. And with the two of you, you guys can now garner some compliance from this guy. Or maybe between the two of you, you guys can play good cop, bad cop. Figure out some way, maybe he has a different approach to dealing with that person that you don't have. If you find yourself in a situation where you absolutely cannot deal with the situation on your own, then before we call 911, we want to call our supervisor out there. Let's get a sergeant out there. Let's get a lieutenant out there. Let's get a site commander out there. Let's get somebody out there who has a little bit more experience in getting people to leave and get them to help you and walk you through what this process looks like. The next thing that we're not going to do is we're not going to be making YouTube videos on client property. The next thing that we're not going to do is we're not going to be rude, we're not going to be disrespectful, we're not going to be egotistical, we're not going to be sociopathic, we're not going to be narcissistic, and we're not going to be overkill with our use of force. I'm not here to beat anybody up, neither are you. We're an armed, trained professional. Disciplined, armed, trained, disciplined professional. We're just using enough force to gain compliance. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Mercenary mindset. It isn't about you, it isn't about me. I hope that you find that this video is helpful. I hope that this helps you keep safe. I hope that this helps you along your journey of becoming a security officer. And I hope that you found what you were looking for. As for me, I got a cat's chase. See you guys later. Stay safe out there. Stay vigilant.